The butchering. A therapeutic experience. You should try it with your bare hands sometime.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. I'm Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. The Butchering, also called Braxton, where it came from in the UK, or Northern Ireland. I don't know if that's officially the UK. However, this is a Northern Ireland film released by Wild Eye. Wild Eye always gets me a little bit weary and skeptical because they can release some pretty good low-budget cinema, but they can also release some not so much. But this one caught my eye because of the title and because of the poster, as you know, a lot of film posters do. This one, basically, what we have going on here is your typical slasher story. This is a pure slasher film in the low-budget indie style. And we have this killer who massacred a bunch of kids at this school gathering. It was some kind of like festival yearly thing that goes on, and this kid just snapped. Basically, his name is Tommy Miller, and we have this opening at the beginning of the film where this event takes place, where this guy just goes berserk basically, and then it immediately follows 10 years later, and then 10 years later we have a new group of kids, and then the killer basically resurfaces and creates havoc again, and just starts slashing people. And Tommy Miller's back, kind of thing. It causes panic because there is a sheriff in the police force that was a witness to the event that happened 10 years prior, and he's now a sheriff. He's now has all this PTSD coming back with everything going, repeating itself kind of thing, history repeating itself. And the killer, in my opinion, looks pretty good. The poster does him really good justice, but basically he's wearing this winter coat parka kind of thing, and he has this random kind of white face mask, not quite Michael Myers at all, but very weathered, very creepy looking, and he wears the hood over himself with the furry kind of parka hood over his head. And the kills are good, and there's things to be appreciated about this film, but I do have some... it's not the best film in the world, and it's not because it feels low budget, and it's not because it feels independent, which it certainly does both. There's some choices that are made that shouldn't have been made. One, in particular, is the length of this film. This is 1 hour and 51 minutes. This film is very well shot. The people behind the camera and the cinematography and whoever was directing this film, Leo McGuigan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, knows his direction, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he has a film here that could be really well done. I, in my opinion, would say it needs to be trimmed down a little bit, and I'll give reasons why. But the direction is great. The kills are also really nice. Some are generic. I mean, you're not going to get Terrifier kills or anything like that. However, the kills are gruesome, and there's a lot of practical blood used. And is there CGI in this film? I don't think there's a single scene of CGI that I think it's all practical. I can't think of a single CGI moment in this film. So in the gore department, it's good. It's great, actually. And in the directing department, it's fantastic. I think it's lengthy, and the biggest thing about this film is just the script. There's a lot of banter when it comes to its characters. We're dealing with basically high school kids that of course are in their 20s, but they're playing high school kids. The problem is you want to care about your characters. You want there to be story, and you want there to be dilemmas and situations and plot in between the slashing that you actually care about. And with this film, although I remember some names, it's hard for me to invest in pretty much anybody in this film other than, I would say, the final girl. Because, well, there's two final girls, but there's one main final girl because she pretty much is, she's focused on throughout the entire film. Her name is Julie. And basically, she's having problems with an ex, I would say, who's named Danny, and Danny is having his eyes on this other girl named, I believe, Claudia. I think it's her name. And then he has her eyes on her, and then Julie kind of wants nothing to do with him anymore, but she still has feelings, and then they're kind of going through this turmoil, and Claudia's a really big bitch, and then there's this other girl, is her name Sammy? It's just, it's a lot of high school drama going on, like, I would say in between, but also around the Tommy Miller story, and the Tommy Miller coming back from the dead kind of thing. So it's one of those films that I don't say this like to be insulting or mean or anything like that, but when I'm comparing the script to the direction is like right here, and the script is like right here, and it's like if you could just raise the script, like give it some redrafts or something, and keep this right here, this could have been a really quality film. And I think this is a film also that is going to merit rewatches for sure, and I want to give this film another chance, like with less, not distractions, but watching it like louder, for example, by myself in a dark room on a rainy night, and really just having a theatrical experience with this film, because I think this film would be a lot higher in my score if I was in the mood for this exact kind of film. And I can see this film being the kind of film that if I'm really in the mood for a low budget slasher, that I would really appreciate the fuck out of something like this. Because I keep going back to the direction. The direction was the best part. This takes a lot of inspiration from classic horror, like classic like horror movie tropes. I felt a lot of Scream in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. This film goes definitely in a Scream direction where there's reveals. You start to realize what's going on involving Tommy Miller, involving the history of Tommy Miller. It feels like that Scream kind of plot where you have something happen and then flash forward, and then you have the resurfacing of events kind of thing. So it played in that, and it played it really well. And although the biggest thing, like I said, was a lot of the characters just didn't have a lot of depth to them. It might not even be the characters. I think it's just a lot of the dialogue, and that has to go with the script, because a lot of scenes just play out for like 10 minutes, and it's just dialogue that I literally do not give a shit about. And it doesn't serve anything. That's the thing. Like, it starts to pick up, the film starts to pick up half an hour into it, where you start to actually understand where the high school kids are coming from, and where Julie's coming from, where Danny's coming from, Claudia. I wish there's another character, I think it's Samantha or something like that. She has a lot of issues with Claudia. They go back and forth. There's a coffee shop scene that actually I like the dialogue in that one. So the script was good in that scenario. But it's one of those films that for the first half hour, you're kind of, a lot of it is a drag until it starts to, like, until the script and the dialogue starts to become more, starts to explain itself a little bit more. And then you're like, okay, I can get behind this a little bit more. I can get behind this a little bit more. But there's a lot of corny scenes. There's a big part, again, this could have been trimmed down, where there's another event, just like the one 10 years prior. There's a new event where a lot of slashings begin. And there's this one scene where this girl comes on stage and she starts to say a speech, and then everybody starts to boo her, and it goes on and on and on, and it's just like it's just a little bit too much, and it just starts to drag a tad. If we got invested into the characters prior, I might have felt differently about it, but because it just feels so repetitive and it just feels so mundane, I'm just waiting for the slasher killer to show up again, Tommy Miller. This is a Wild Eye film that was not fantastic. Again, Wild Eye is one of those companies that like I am always weary with because I've seen so many films by them that don't always hit the mark. But then I've also seen Wild Eye films that are gems, like hidden gems that are like, wow, I actually love this. Like, this is fantastic. So this one is kind of like high, middle, low, or like kind of like here. But I do want to revisit this one, and I do want to give it like a fully focused chance because I think there's a lot in this film to be understood, and I think there's a lot of, is hidden messaging the right word? Like, I think there's things that you really do have to pay attention to fully grasp the story, especially with the history and the lore, and then you have the modern day things going on. So I think this film would be like, I would have a better experience if I watched it one more time, kind of thing, is basically what I'm saying. But it's it didn't blow me away or anything like that. But I have definitely seen worse, and like I said, I'm giving what I loved about it a lot of credit, which is the directing, and I want to see more from this guy, Leo McGuigan. I looked him up. I think he directed 2 shorts, and then this. And I heard that he was 19 when he either wrote this or directed it. I don't know which. I don't know when he started writing it, but he was quite young. So good on the guy, because he knows how to direct. That's for sure. And if this is like a first feature, it's a project worth seeing. So it's called The Butchering in the United States and Canada, but in the UK apparently it's called Braxton Butcher, from what I understood. So it's a cool film though. I had fun with it, at least. Just a little bit too long, and I think the script could have been played with a lot more. But damn, that direction for a low budget film and a independent kind of project. Whoa, I want to see more from this guy, honestly. So keep going, Leo, if you're making more films, and hope to see some more. Until next spooky review, keep it spooky. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you want to see some more, because there's plenty more coming all throughout October, right up until the 31st. And until next review, have a good one, guys. Take care. Cheers.